24 hours every day. This is News 12, Long Island. And now, the night edition.
Good evening, I'm Judy Martin.
And I'm Joe Moskowitz. Iraq vows revenge following a U.S. airstrike that killed at least 8 civilians.
That's the latest tonight as the United States addressed the UN Security Council. It was an emergency meeting. A U.S. ambassador said the Iraqi government had had a hand in the plot to assassinate former President Bush. Showing pictures and explaining charts, U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations, Madeleine Albright, sought not an endorsement of the U.S. airstrike, but instead a podium to explain the action to the UN Security Council.
It is the firm judgment of the United States intelligence community, based on all the sources of evidence available to it, that this assassination plot was directed and pursued by the Iraqi intelligence service.
But Iraqi Ambassador Nizar Hamdoun called the attack a breach of international law.
The government of Iraq has denied and denies today any role regarding this alleged attempt.
These pictures show the devastating damage from the attack. The United States says 20 Tomahawk missiles nearly destroyed a wing in the Iraqi intelligence building, but 3 others hit residential areas. Sunday, funerals for the dead brought about 5,000 people to the streets of Baghdad, denouncing the United States action.
See what's happening to Iraqi nation. Why? Why? Why are they killing us?
On Iraqi television, Saddam Hussein spoke about helping the injured civilians. And in Washington today, President Clinton also spoke about the civilian casualties and expressed regret at the loss of life.
I regret that very much. But I would remind you that the reason the mission was carried out at the time it was and in the way it was to try to minimize the loss of life.
And overseas, Israel and Britain, both U.S. allies, voiced support for the United States.
I think one has to make it clear to international criminals like Saddam Hussein that that sort of behavior will not be tolerable. If we just stand aside and accept that sort of behavior, what is to stop that happening again and again?
And Secretary of State Warren Christopher made it clear on This Week with David Brinkley that the United States will not tolerate terrorism.
The message that we sent to Saddam Hussein yesterday was a good, strong message, and the message that the FBI sent in New York with the arrests is another indication that the United States is going to stand strong against terrorism.
No immediate action has been taken by the 15-nation Security Council of the United Nations.
President Clinton says there was a clear-cut motive for the attack, retaliation for an Iraqi plot to assassinate former President George Bush. But News 12's Greg Sergel reports politics may have also been a consideration.
America's security has depended on the clarity of this message. Don't tread on us.
It was Bill Clinton's boldest stroke as president. By bombing Iraq for allegedly plotting to kill George Bush, the president said he wanted to send a strong message to Saddam Hussein that the U.S. would fight terrorism and deter aggression. But the decision has left some wondering whether Bill Clinton was also seeking to help himself politically.
The missile strike against Iraq comes at a time when President Clinton's popularity is waning in public opinion polls and among the military itself. Some see him as indecisive. Because of all those factors, one Long Island professor says it's obvious that politics did influence the president's decision to attack Iraq.
I am enough of a cynic to think that you can never assume that political factors don't dominate these decisions. I'm not so much of a cynic that I think that they are always the first issue. I think this is likely to be a broadly popular move, especially in this area of the country where we're now beginning to see terrorism which originates in the Middle East.
Most of the Long Islanders we spoke to seemed to confirm Dr. Jones' opinion, although some did condemn the president's action.
It bothers me that without immediate or direct provocation, we're going out and bombing another country.
I think it's time that the word is put out in that community in Iraq that they can't go around terrorizing people, and especially the office of the President of the United States.
No matter how the missile strike is received on Main Street, one Middle East expert from Hofstra University says the attack will spawn more of the very terrorist acts that President Clinton is now hoping to prevent.
These types of actions enhance radicalism, in the region.
Greg Circle, News 12, Long Island.
The entire Middle Eastern region has been a trouble spot for America for the past 4.5 decades, but most of the trouble has been on their turf. However, starting with the World Trade Center blast, it has become apparent that our problems with some radical Arab elements have arrived in the United States. Last week, federal agents uncovered a plot to blow up the United Nations, FBI headquarters, and the Lincoln and Holland tunnels. The plan, as well as the bombing of the World Trade Center in February, have been linked to Sheikh Abdel Rahman, a radical Muslim cleric based in a Jersey City mosque. Numerous reports say there are tapes of phone conversations between the blind religious leader and Imad Ali Salem, the man who reportedly told the FBI of the plot, which was uncovered last week. Rahman is also reportedly linked to a number of other terrorist activities in the U.S. and his native Egypt. But while there have been these reports, Rahman remains a free man. How much longer will he remain that way? Federal officials aren't saying. And New York Newsday says another group, Fuqra, made up of American black Muslims, may have been hired by Rahman's followers to provide the explosives for the plot, which was uncovered last week. Judy?
The final day of decision-making for the base closing commission caused both anguish and relief for communities across the nation. Upstate New York is among the areas hardest hit by the panel's recommendations. Other places like California, Michigan, and Arlington, Virginia also came out losers in the voting process. But there was some good news for residents of Philadelphia and Charleston, South Carolina. The commission making decisions today that would keep thousands of jobs in both those cities.
Here on Long Island, police are still searching for the driver of the car that struck and critically injured the son of Glen Cove's deputy police chief. Authorities say 20-year-old Robert Pascucci was walking across Brewster Street in Glen Cove this morning when he was hit by a red Ford model car. Now, if you saw what happened, Glen Cove police want to hear from you. You can reach them at 676-1000. In Spokane, Missouri, dozens of senior citizens are recovering tonight after the bus they were on crashed, tumbling down a 40-foot embankment. Police say the accident happened yesterday when the tour bus swerved while trying to avoid another car. One 72-year-old woman died, and about 40 others were injured. The bus was chartered by several church groups.
When News 12 returns, a mix of partying and politics at a gay pride parade in New York City. Plus, life-saving surgery for the Long Islander who fought the system to marry the man of her dreams. And visions of love bring together a blind couple. That story and more in a moment.
This is barbecuing. This isn't. This is fun. This isn't. They bought their grill assembled and delivered from Jetmore. They should have. For over 20 years, Jetmore has been Long Island's most complete source for gas grills and accessories. The Jetmore staff will completely assemble and deliver your gas grill in, well, no time at all. And when it comes to service, no one has been keeping more Long Island grills grilling than Jetmore. So come in today and see why you get more at Jetmore.
When stress takes its toll, wouldn't it be great to have your very own personal masseuse to soothe and relieve tension? TheraFX presents the Pro Shiatsu Personal Massager. Unlike vibrating massagers that only rub the surface, Pro Shiatsu simulates the kneading action of a real masseuse, sending penetrating waves of energy to relieve pain, stress, and sore muscles. Use it on your feet, lower back, calves, and thighs. Imagine getting a relaxing massage at the office, or take it along to the gym. There's nothing that soothes, relaxes, and relieves aches and pains like the Pro Shiatsu Massager. A professional masseuse can charge up to $50 per hour, and catalogs have advertised similar units for as much as $200. Now you can order the Pro Shiatsu Massager for 3 easy payments of $33. Order now.
For rush delivery, call 1-800-342-7200 or send $99 plus $12 shipping to Pro Shiatsu, P.O. Box 339-N, Verona, New Jersey 07044 to receive yours. Order now. Call 1-800-342-7200.
Okay, everyone, we can relax. She's gone.
Whew, what a day. This limited edition is one busy place.
Yeah, that's because everyone loves us. Personally, I think they go for my expressive eyes.
Just when we get to know each other, someone needs a great gift and takes us out of here.
The buildings in our village keep selling all the time.
The limited edition.
Come in and meet the new kids in stock.
Precious moments, always the perfect gift.
In New York City, thousands marched today in support of gay pride. It was the 24th annual Lesbian and Gay Pride March. This year's parade focused on gays in the military. An estimated 250,000 people filled the streets of New York for the march, which included floats, bands, and choruses. At one point, there was a moment of silence for those who have fallen to AIDS.
The average American is not impressed with the way President Clinton is handling health care reform. According to a recent ABC News Washington Post survey, only 45% of Americans expect substantial progress. That's down a whopping 20 points from the same survey in April.
And here on Long Island, the Comac woman in need of a heart and double lung transplant finally received the operation this weekend, but not without a struggle. You may recall 25-year-old Erin O'Connell. She married her husband Dave in a mock ceremony back in May. Erin didn't legally marry Dave because she couldn't afford to lose her Medicaid coverage that pays for the transplant surgery. Tonight, she's resting peacefully at Columbia Presbyterian Hospital in Manhattan.
And as of this morning, she was on a minimal amount of medications, intravenous medications, and apparently the surgeons are very pleased with her progress so far.
Dr. Khan says Erin's body could still reject the new organs, but he's optimistic. The organ donor was a 14-year-old boy.
Have a problem? Want to pray? How about a hotline to the Holy Land? Operators are standing by in Jerusalem to listen and offer guidance. It's all part of a new Christian prayer line staffed by volunteers 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Dial-Up Prayer is a joint venture of a Christian newspaper and Israel's state-run telephone company. The phone number shouldn't surprise you. It's 1-900-4-Holy Land. The cost, however, may surprise you a bit. It's $1.99 a minute. So talk fast, but you never know, Judy. Maybe there'll be divine intervention. It's busy. Whoa.
Oh, too bad. Still on the nighttime edition, meteorologist Nora Devoskin will tell us if any wet weather is in the forecast. And showered by love, a blind couple tie the knot, and their four-legged friends are right by their sides.
On this job, you can't do a story until you get the facts. So when I heard about Rogaine with minoxidil, I wanted to get all the facts for myself. It's a story a lot of women will want to know about. If you're one of them, the Upjohn Company has a number you can call to find out. 1-800-568-9100. When you call, Upjohn will send you a free informative brochure that will answer your questions about Rogaine. And because only a doctor can prescribe Rogaine, they'll also offer you a list of doctors in your area who can tell you if Rogaine is right for you. They'll even send you a certificate worth $10 as an incentive to see a doctor. Get the story about Rogaine with minoxidil. To find out the facts for yourself, call 1-800-568-9100 for your informative brochure, list of doctors, and your $10 certificate. Get the facts. Make the call now.
Hello?
Hi, honey. I just checked in.
How was the flight?
Bad food, good movie.
I miss you.
I miss you, too.
I feel so alone when you're not here.
Did you lock all the doors and turn on the ADT system?
Yep.
The last thing a burglar wants to see. ADT helps protect your home and family 24 hours a day, every day of the year by linking your home to an ADT customer service center. Call 1-800-ADT-INFO. For a small monthly fee and one-time installation charge, our SafeWatch system can help protect your home against break-ins, fire, and medical emergencies. Help protect your home. Help protect your peace of mind. Call 1-800-ADT-INFO.
I'll see you at home tomorrow night, then. I love you both.
We love you, too. We'll be here.
ADT, we're home even when you're not.
ADT SafeWatch for as little as $21.95 per month. And for a limited time, only $195 for installation.
Flooding has made portions of the Mississippi River unnavigable. Officials say fast-moving water and debris have forced commercial and recreational boaters to either drop their anchors or seek other waterways for travel. Officials say they've closed most of the locks that create navigation pools on the river upstream from St. Louis, Missouri to St. Paul, Minnesota.
Ooh, dropping anchors. I don't like hearing that sort of stuff. Different type of anchor. Here is Norm with the weather.
It was almost as bad as one of his jokes.
Yeah, that was. Now you see what happens when too many drips get together? That was bad.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we had a reasonably good day on Sunday. Lots of clouds in the morning, a few showers across the region. And Hector Muniz was up at Morgan Park in Glen Cove, a beautiful place to be on a nice day in the summertime. It was not the heat, but the humanity there. People were sitting around enjoying themselves. Walter Dibbins in Massapequa had a high of 76 on Sunday. Shirley, that's Joe Decker, had a high of 81. Orion, Helen Proud, 78 degrees. The normal high is 80 degrees, so we were really just about normal. Kim Hicks in Montauk, 76 degrees, and clear skies over most of the region. Some clouds have worked their way in, some fog. If you take a look at the satellite picture, there's some strong clouds over the central part of New York State, and there's a cold front out to the west. Now, if you go back 24 hours, we had clear sky across the region. These clouds, as part of a cold front, moved across in the early morning hours, bringing some rain, especially to Nassau County. Some clouds over New York State now with some showers, and there's another cold front up across the Great Lakes, working their way steadily towards the east coast. Looking at the radar, the showers we had in the morning now out in the Atlantic, and there's a line of showers that extend from Glen Falls to Scranton that are moving towards the east, but they're weakening considerably. They were built up during the heat of the day. I don't think we'll get any of these. We are watching some showers out to the west, part of a cold front that is moving steadily towards the east coast. Will arrive late on Monday with a chance of some showers. So overnight, look for partly cloudy skies, dense fog, especially on the east end and the south shore. It could be quite thick with very reduced visibility. Temperatures 65 to 70 degrees. And if you're headed for the beach on Monday, if you take into account temperature, cloud cover, and wind, a good beach day. So if you have off, it looks like a nice day to go to the beach. It'll be hot and sticky across the region. So the forecast for Monday is for a partly cloudy day across the area with a chance of late day showers or thunderstorms, especially after 5 o'clock. They'll be widely scattered. Winds on the waters out of the southwest, 8 to 16 knots. Temperatures running in the 80s all across Long Island. If you happen to live on Tremper Street in Holbrook, you'll have a high of 83 degrees. Air conditioning, that's a useful device for human beings. Looking at the extended outlook for Tuesday, clouds in the morning, becoming sunny in the afternoon, temperatures in the 80s right through the work week, so summer is upon us.
It sure is.
And I'm going to the beach.
Thanks, Norm.
Okay, thanks a lot, Norm. When we come back, Mike Zimmet and the unhappy story of Anthony Young and the Mets. Meanwhile, the sports world says goodbye to one of its greats. Stay with us.
Want an adjustable bed but don't think you can afford one? Then you haven't priced Craftmatic adjustable beds recently. This Craftmatic
One time there were 3 Major League Baseball teams in New York, and during the post-war years, all of them were good. The most storied of the teams, the Brooklyn Dodgers. One of those boys of summer died of a heart attack this weekend, former Glen Cove resident Roy Campanella. The boys of summer, dem bums, the Brooklyn Dodgers. They called Ebbets Field their home. Their names were Robinson, Hodges, Furillo, Newcomb, Erskine, and behind the plate, Roy Campanella. An all-star 8 of his 10 years in the majors, a 3-time most valuable player, Campy was getting ready to move to Los Angeles with the Dodgers when his life changed on DeSource Road in Glen Cove in January 1958. Campanella could handle any fastball, either with his mitt or with his bat, but he couldn't handle this curve that night in Glen Cove.
It was a wet night with leaves.
Yeah?
And we skid, and his car completely turned around and went into this pole over here.
With this pole right there?
Right.
Still there?
Yes. And a next door neighbor was a Dr. Gurney.
Okay.
Fortunately, he went out, and then after that, they called the ambulance. And he was in the hospital for quite some time here.
He would have to spend the rest of his life in a wheelchair. Campy, along with teammates Jackie Robinson and Don Newcomb, helped erase a color line in baseball. He and his family did the same thing in Morgan's Island, a very fashionable portion of Glen Cove.
I guess it was tough in the beginning. You know, when they moved in, it was, they were the first black family moving into the area, Morgan Island, which is an exclusive area here. But it was exciting having a celebrity in the area. So the kids were accepted immediately.
Every kid in Glen Cove who plays Little League Baseball knows who Roy Campanella was. The league is named after him. Campanella was 71.
Well, moving on now to sports. Mike Zimmet has the details, of course. Any good news?
This is not sports, these are the Mets.
That's right. It comes close to sports, but not quite. If you saw the Mets game today, you saw baseball history. Anthony Young did today what no pro baseball pitcher has done for the last 82 years. Young dropped his 24th straight decision this afternoon, breaking the record set by Cliff Curtis back in 1911. Remember that, Judy? Well, the Mets lost to the Cards at Shea 5-3. The Mets' 5th straight defeat. 52 losses for the year so far. That is abysmal. Notice the last 2 letters of the sign. AY. Today is the day. Bottom first, Mets up 1-0. Eddie Murray, powerful shot to left field. 7th home run of the year. This gave the Mets a 2-0 lead. But in the 4th, Cards on with men first and second. Todd Zeile up. Mets going for a triple play. Almost. Zeile is safe, and that would cost New York. Same inning now, 2-1. Seldom used Rod Brewer off Young. Doubles to left. Witten scores, followed by Jordan. The Cards take a 3-2 lead. So in the 6th, Joe McGrain got the win, but he can also hit. Base hit sends Brewer home. This made it 5-2. Now the Mets' comeback effort was stifled by double plays. New York hit into 4 twin killings, 3 off the bat of Eddie Murray. Mets lose 5-3 as St. Louis sweeps the series. In Young's 24 losses, 12 has come as a starter, the other dozen in relief. And the Yankees played home run ball in Camden Yards this afternoon. New York cooled off red-hot Baltimore 9-5. This time the Yankee relief corps did not blow it. Here's the 5th inning. Jim Leyritz off John O'Donohue with the game tied at 3. He whacks it to deep right center field towards the hit it here sign. Close enough. Home run. Leyritz gives the Yanks a 4-3 lead. In the 7th, Bernie Williams with a man on takes O'Donohue deep left field. 2-run shot. It's now 6-3 New York. Then in the 9th, Yanks up 7-5. Danny Tarnable with a runaround. Brad Pennington's high fastball is crushed to the 2nd level of the Yankee bullpen. 9-5 the score, and that is the final. And here's a note. Former Mets Dave Magadan has been traded. The Florida Marlins ship Magadan to Seattle, where he will play for his cousin and godfather, Lou Piniella. Can't get into too much trouble like that. The Marlins received outfielder Henry Cotto and a minor league pitcher in return. Magadan became expendable when the Marlins got Gary Sheffield a few days ago. And one other note, the Giants placed Matt Williams, the Major League's home run leader, on the 15-day DL with a strained abdominal muscle. Golf, Jim Colbert captured the Senior Players Championship this afternoon in Dearborn, Michigan. He finished 1 stroke ahead of Ray Floyd. Colbert set to tee off on a par 3, 15th hole.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Some shot. Listen to that excitement. He birdied to go 10 under. 1 hole later, Colbert on 16 for a long birdie. They don't cheer in this sport. And he went on to win the tournament at 10 under par. And at the Greater Hartford Open, this is Roger Maltby's 3rd shot on the par 5, 13th. Look where this baby lands.
Whoa. Get in.
It didn't. 2 inches from the cup. Maltby birdies 13. Went on to finish tied for 2nd at 8 under par. Second to this man, Nick Price, with a long birdie putt on 14. Yes, he goes on to win the tournament at 9 under. For Nick, the price was certainly right. He takes home $180,000. That is sports. Here's Joe and Judy.
Okay, thank you much.
A Long Island couple fell in love as soon as they met, and it turned into a lifetime commitment. Although both the bride and groom are blind, it hasn't altered their vision of a future together. News 12's Rudy Mitchell was at their wedding.
For Arnold Goldstein, it was more than good luck that brought him to his bride, Natalie. Both completely blind, they saw each other like never before, as husband and wife. Something that Arnold knew would happen from the moment he met Natalie.
The first time I saw her, that was it. Yeah, I knew it.
The couple was attended to by Molly and Nina. They're seeing eye dogs, and it looks like they're going to get along just fine. The story of Arnold and Natalie begins at the very place they were married. Although they weren't students at the same time at the Guide Dog Foundation for the Blind, their union was the result of a devious matchmaking effort by a director.
They're both wonderful, wonderful people, and I had just had this brilliant idea that maybe this would be a good match, and they really have been a very good match for each other.
One of the proudest guests on hand was Natalie's mother.
She's alone, and he was alone, and together they make a lovely pair, and they do very well with each other, and I think they'll be happy.
Natalie and Arnold weren't always blind. He lost his sight as a result of diabetes, and Natalie's complete loss of vision happened gradually. But it didn't cloud her vision on her wedding day.
All I can tell you is I'm emotional. It's the happiest day of my life.
She's relaxed.
And what more can I say?
They'll honeymoon for a week in Atlantic City, where it looks like they'll have pretty good odds. In Smithtown, Renee Mitchell, News 12 Long Island.
That's such a nice story, isn't it?
Yeah. Who says there isn't good news on TV once in a while?
There it is, right there.
Well, that's our news for now. Thanks for watching. I'm Joe Moskowitz.
I'm Judy Martin. Have a great night.